Good evening. We're calling to order the Administrative and Finance Committee meeting. Today is Wednesday, August 5th, and the time is 5:30 p.m. We will start by doing roll call. We have Alder Tom Smith.
Here.
And Alder James Wichik.
Here.
Myself, Alder Kathy Lohndorf. I'm here as well. We'll move on to consideration and action on the following, on the minutes from the previous meeting, excuse me.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from the previous meeting. Second that.
All right. We have a motion on the floor by Alder Smith and seconded by Alder Wojcik. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Wonderful. Moving on to item number 3, public input. Anyone wishing to provide any input may do so now. The limit of 3 minutes per individual. Second call for anyone wishing to provide any input. Third and final call for anyone wishing to provide any public input. All right. With no input, public input is now closed. We are going to make an adjustment to our agenda tonight. We are going to go ahead and move on to the finance portion first. Item number 7, the presentation of the audit financials, since the representative is here and would probably like to go home. So I'm going to hand the floor over to Alder Tom Smith.
Yeah, I'll call the order of the Finance Committee just for this item number 7, and then we'll skip back to the administration after item number 7 is done. So for the Finance Committee, the presentation of the 2025 audit financials from Hawkins Ash CPA LLP. So I'll turn it over to him. Yeah, okay.
I was just going to add,
Yeah.
we did have a slight change to the summary financials, so they are in front of you. That's what one of the paper copies was, and that'll get posted online. I gave you a copy too, Joanne. So.
Okay, thank you. It's all yours.
Perfect. So my name is Justin Peterson, Senior Audit Manager, Hawkins Ash CPAs, and the audit lead for the city's audit. In front of you, you should have 3 separate reports. The first one will be the biggest one. That's your full audited financial statements. For all purposes after today, that's where you should refer to if you're going back into the financials. It's got the full disclosures all up to standard. The other report will be the independent auditor's report on communication with those charging governments, also known as the management letter. That is where we would report any difficulties we had, any findings we had, any issues. There were none noted. For purposes of today, I'm going to cover the summary financial statements. So again, this will be the shorter one. The original copy that was sent over, there was a mistake in it, so there will be a new one, but for purposes of today, we have the paper copies in front of us. So starting, the first thing in the summary financial statements is the independent auditor's report. This independent auditor's report states that the city's financial statements are above, consistent in all material respects, free of material misstatement. And then this summary report also goes into saying this is a summary report. It doesn't have the full footnote disclosure. Again, the full financial statements will have that. The next page, page 3, is the combined balance sheet. So this is kind of a snapshot of the city's whole balance sheet, and that's taking everything all added together, all the government funds, all the business type funds, all into one spot. Kind of just shows where the city sits compared to prior year. Some of the areas that I like to point out, you can see long-term debt down $3 million from the prior year. And then in the equity section, you can kind of see where the fund balances went from year to year. One item of note, general fund balance was up this year as compared to last year. Major enterprise fund balances were up compared to prior years as well. The chart, I guess not necessarily page 4, but the next page just kind of shows where the fund balances have gone as of 22, 23, 24, 25. As you can see, the general fund balance has steadily increased over the 4 years. And then a notable thing in 2025, the other government funds decreased. That was because of a large balance in the 2024 capital fund project as of last year. And as that money was spent down in the current year, that's why that kind of looks like it dipped. But essentially the projects were done in 2025 versus 2024. And a lot of that had to do with the community center and some of those items. Going forward to page 4, this is the general fund's revenue, and it's 3 columns comparing the budget to actual and then the 2024 actual. Items of note here, as you can see, the 2025 actual compared to budget was $1.4 million higher than what was budgeted for the revenue. And then as compared to last year, it was just over $160,000 higher than it was in 2024. Major areas where it was higher were the interest. Also, the building permits, inspection fees were significantly higher from what was budgeted in the 2025 final budget. The pie chart going along with that on the next page just shows the city's makeup of where their revenue is coming from. Obviously, a large portion of the general fund revenue comes from the taxes and special assessments, then intergovernmental, miscellaneous license and permits, and from there on. Very standard breakup of a municipality of this size. The next page goes over the general fund expenditures, essentially the same report, just expenditures this time. As you can see, the actual looks like it's significantly higher than budget. Really, that has to do with the year-end transfer of $900,000 out of the general fund that went to the various funds. I think it was the equipment replacement. So that's kind of if you look at the numbers directly, it looks like it was way over budget, but that's the main reason. Otherwise, it would have been below the budgeted amounts.
Okay.
And then again, the next chart just shows kind of where those expenses are made up for. Obviously, a large portion of the general fund expenditures go to public safety, fire department, police, then general government, culture, rec, education, public works, and other. The next page, page 6, this shows the statement of revenue and expenses and changes in net position for water, sewer, and stormwater, comparing 25 to 24. Some items of note for here specifically, I usually look into the operating income or loss. As you can see, waters did go down. It was still an operating income, but slightly down from last year. And then sewer and stormwater did have negative balances. One item of note is depreciation is taken into account in that calculation. So it's not necessarily like a cash flow loss, but the income with the depreciation taken out. That's kind of where those balances go. If you look at the chart on the next page, this describes exactly what I just went over, showing where water's income has been and then kind of what sewer and stormwater have been. As you can see, stormwater has kind of been hanging either below or right around for the last 4 years. Page 7, this is all of the city's other funds. This is made up of the 4 other enterprise funds, the capital project funds, special revenue, and your debt service fund. Kind of showing where the net position was at the start of the year, revenue expenses, and where that ending net position. The item of note that I had earlier is you can see in the 24 projects, there was $3.3 million in unspent bond proceeds last year, and then that was expended throughout this current year. And then going to page 8, this is general summary of other reports that would be in the financial statements. Firstly, the independent auditor's report. We are giving an unmodified or clean auditor's opinion. Describes the basis of accounting, general capital assets on the current year, $7.4 million in capital asset additions amongst various projects. You could see where capital projects kind of went. Summary from 2024-5 to 2024. And then also water, sewer, stormwater, there was $2.1 million in those enterprise fund fixed asset additions, and then $127,000 in contributed from developers. So water, sewer, storm, that was contributed from a developer. And then lastly, long-term debt. The city's total general obligation long-term debt decreased by $1.03 million. The state sets a debt obligation limit, and that's, as you can see, is the $169 million. The city is well below that standard set by the state, $124 million below. Some of the debt additions, there was a refinancing of a NAN last year, so it wasn't necessarily really paid off. It was more so exchanged. So there wasn't really $7.9 million in new debt. Some of it was just refinanced in the current year. And then lastly, the auditor's report on compliance and internal control. We conclude that the city's internal controls appear to be adequate for a city your size and no problems noted. Another thing I wanted to note, last year there would have been a fourth report. The city was above the $750,000 threshold for a federal single audit. That number has now moved to $1 million. And then as the city has expended all of their ARPA money, that is now well below the threshold. So there isn't a single audit anymore for the municipality. Do you have any questions?
Any questions for Justin? Anybody?
I actually did have a question. What is, you mentioned, depreciation on sewer? Is that just like the segregation of the sewer lines and equipment for that, or?
So it'd be the depreciation of like capitalized projects. And that's kind of what's going on. So it's not like a cash flow thing, like that amount of money was already spent by the city. It's just being depreciated off the books.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Anything else to add? Yeah, anything else? Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. All right. Then we're done with 7. I'm going to turn it back over to Alder Lendendorf and go back to the administrative area.
Thank you, Alder Smith. All right, so we're going to go ahead and back in the administrative portion of our agenda, move on to item number 4, a recruitment update from Human Resources Director Amy Franson.
Good evening. As you can see before you, we've got 2 positions that were filled in the month of July. And we are making progress on our other 5 positions that the city is currently down with our regular positions. I know we've got interviews scheduled for our fire chief candidates and our assistant police chief candidates. And then we're also in the background phase for a couple of our other positions and recruiting once again for our staff engineer.
Wonderful, thank you. Any questions for Amy? Okay. Moving on to item number 5, ordinance 1856-2026 to rezone a parcel of land located in section 32, township 17 north, range 07 west in the city of Onalaska, La Crosse County, Wisconsin, from low density residential district R1 to medium density residential district R3. For this, I'm going to defer to City Planning Director Katie Aspenson. Is Katie here? Yeah, Katie's here.
Thank you. Before you this evening is a rezoning petition at 1035 East Avenue North to rezone a parcel of land from low density residential R1 to medium density residential district R3. This was approved at the Plan Commission meeting last week. Thank you.
I make a motion to approve ordinance number 1856-2026 to rezone a parcel of land located in section 32, township 17 north, range 07 west in the city of La Crosse, city of Onalaska, La Crosse County, Wisconsin, from low density residential district R1 to medium density residential district R3.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor from Alder Wojcik and a second by Alder Tom Smith. Any discussion on this item? All right, no discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Moving on to item number 6, ordinance 1857-2026 to rezone a parcel of land located in section 28, township 17, range 07 west in the city of Onalaska, LaCrosse County, Wisconsin, from low-density residential district R1 to high-density residential district R4. Again, we'll defer over to Katie Aspenson.
Thank you. This is a request at 2137 Sand Lake Road to rezone a parcel of land from R1 low density residential to R4 high density residential to accommodate a future row house development. This was approved at the Plan Commission meeting as well last week. Thank you.
I'll make a motion that we approve the ordinance 1857-2026 to rezone a parcel of land located at section 28, township 17 north, range 07 west of the city of Onalaska, LaCrosse County, from low density residential district R1 to high density residential district R4.
I second that.
We have a motion on the floor by Alder Smith and seconded by Alder Wojcik. Any discussion on this one? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion is passed. We'll move on to finance and I'll hand the floor over to Alder Smith.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to finance and to item number 8, which is 2026 general fund financials. Sabrina?
Thank you, Chair. In your packets this evening, starting on page 21 is the starting on page 18 is the general fund financials. Pages 18 and 19 are the balance sheet for the general fund through June 30th of 2026. Then following on page 20 is the revenue and expenditure summary. If I can draw your attention to page 21, the percent remaining to hit our total budgeted revenues of $12,826,715. We have 21.52% remaining to hit that total budgeted revenue. As of June 30th of 2025, we were at 18.73%. So fairly close to where we were at in 2025. There's still lots of revenue lines that we will still continue to see an increase. For example, interest income that comes monthly. We haven't received our large payment from the state for shared revenue. So there's still quite a bit to come in 2026 to where I'm not concerned about where we're at for revenues. Then for expenditures, if I can draw your attention to page 34. On page 34, our total expenditures through June 30th of 2026 is $5,934,849.61, of which we have 53.73% remaining of our total budgeted expenditures. As of June 30th of 2025, we were at 52.98%. So we're actually trending ahead of where we were at in 2025 for expenditures. I'll take any questions that you have.
Any questions for Sabrina? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the 2026 general fund financials.
Okay.
I second that.
Okay, motion by Alderperson Lendorf and second by Alderperson Wojcik to approve the 2026 general fund financials. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, 2026 Omni Center financials. Sabrina?
Thank you. So next in your packets, starting on page 36, is the Omni Center balance sheet. Then following on page 37 is the revenue and expenditure summary through June 30th of 2026. Our total revenues through June 30th of 2026 is $509,195.79, of which we have 39.76 remaining to hit our total budgeted revenues. As of June 30th of 2025, we were at 41.33%. So we're actually trending ahead there as well for revenues. Other thing to note, we recorded our donations for the liquor sales for the Omni Center through the second quarter, but we have not recorded the room tax revenue yet. That's That was due here in the last couple of days, so I'll have those numbers final soon, and then we'll record our room tax for the second quarter as well, which will likely be around 30,000 additional revenue to the Omni Center. Then if you continue on to page 38, our total expenditures through June 30th of 2026 is $447,738, of which we have 46.96% remaining. As of June 30th of 2025, we were at 45.45. So also trending better than where we were at in 2025 for expenses.
Any questions for Sabrina? If not, I'll have a motion for a motion.
I make a motion to accept the 2026 Omni Center financials.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Wilczek and second by Kathy Lenendorf to approve the 2026 Omni Center financials. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, item number 10, resolution 2026, existing employer option resolution, Wisconsin Public Employers Group Health Insurance Program. Who wants to talk about that? Rick?
Yep, I can take that one. So thank you. So the resolution before you tonight, there was the memo attached to the packet as well too. So the memo before you, or the resolution before you is, if approved, we'll go on to council to change our health insurance plan. But I want to give you a little bit of background as to kind of how we got to this point in the first place. So just again, some background on it is, I'm going to refer to Plan 12 throughout my conversation here, which is our current plan. That's what we have in 2026. Plan 14 is the one that we're being proposed to go to. It's just as an easy way to reference which one it is. So we have been on Plan 12 for some time now. We're under the ETF system. And so they have certain plans that we have to choose from. And so we've been under the Plan 12, which does not have any deductible and has good coverage. Over the last several years, there have been noticeable increases. Just to kind of give you a little bit of background, in 2022, there was an 11% increase. 23, it was almost 3.5%. 24 was just over 1%. 25 was over 9%, and last year was over 17%. So the insurance rates have been going up pretty significantly and have been impacting both the city and the employees in various different ways. So this year, when we received notification that the insurance rates under our current system, we're going to increase 29%. How anybody sustains that, is beyond me. And obviously, continuing on this trajectory of our current plan is not financially sustainable for the city. I don't have the numbers in front of me this evening, but there have been impacts on employees as well. And so looking at those different factors, it was clear that something needed to be looked at differently. Quite frankly, after last year's 17% increase, there was some conversation. If there was another significant increase, what are some options under ETF that we could look at? Certainly never expected 29%. Started looking at different options, different plans. There are a number of them that are available under ETF. Sorry, I frogged my throat all of a sudden. With varying deductibles, varying copays, varying coinsurance, just a number of different things that play into what those financial ramifications would look like, not only for the city, but also the employee. So after taking a look at those and having some conversations with department heads, along with our finance director in regards to the impacts on the city, along with our HR director and how that looks like to employees as well too, just really needed to come down to what can we do to move forward. I will say that looking at this and trying to decide which direction to go was not an easy decision or recommendation to make to council or to administrative and finance. I know that whatever this change might look like, it impacts employees and it impacts their families. It may impact on what that coverage looks like specifically, what those personal budgets look like. So certainly whatever recommendations are being made or decisions are being made are not being made lightly. Staff are aware that this conversation is occurring this evening, and if approved, we'll go on to council. I've had a couple of staff reach out just indicating that this would be a financial hardship on them, so completely understand that. Others have indicated that they understand that we had a good plan and we didn't know how long we were going to be able to sustain that based on the increases. So I just want to give that little bit of a background before going into kind of what the recommendation is. So after some discussions and consideration, I decided to make the recommendation of switching over to Plan 14. Now, there's information in the packet in regards to what Plan 14 looks like. It is a deductible plan, $500 individual, $1,000 family, which is a big change for employees here at the city. Thankfully, that plan also results if Quartz West is chosen as the plan by the employee, it would result in a decrease in premiums for the employee. One of the handouts that you saw in the packet indicated what those rates would be in 2027. Again, if this policy were to be changed, this plan were to be changed, and if employees went with Quartz West. Now, having said that, the decrease in premiums and the resulting deductible do not offset each other. There would still be a net increase depending on the certain ramifications. There's a lot of factors that go into it. Employees don't have to choose Quartz West. So if they choose other ones, they wouldn't be as advantageous in premium cost-wise, but they do have other options as well. Kind of throwing a lot at you right now, but that bottom line is, the recommendation to go with Plan 14 does help with the premium costs for employees, but it does provide for a deductible for them as well. It does decrease the cost to the city significantly. If we would have stayed with our current plan, there would have been over a $600,000 impact to the city budget. Changing to Plan 14 would reduce that down to $453,000 approximately to the city budget. Again, still not ideal. It's still a 20% increase by looking at Plan 14. But again, looking at what some of our options are, I thought this was the one that made sense, trying to balance the impact on employees with the impact on the city. So what I'm requesting tonight is that you approve the resolution, which would change the plan from 12 to 14. ETF does need a resolution that is approved ultimately by council in order to make the plan, or to make the change. This obviously has an impact on what open enrollment looks like. So human resources can get together the materials that they need for open enrollment. Has an impact on what employees are going to see for their premiums next year. Also has an impact on what our budget looks like overall. So again, just a number of different things. As a side note, and this isn't part of the resolution, but part of the conversation also was looking at the possibility of contributing up to $500 to employees, to each employee who enrolls in our health insurance to help offset some of the deductible that is being under Plan 14. Still looking at exactly what that would look like. That is something that I'm seriously taking a look at as to what would that look like, having conversations with department heads and staff. And obviously that would eat a little bit into the savings that we would be looking at by switching plans. So it would have an impact on the budget. So still trying to assess what that would look like overall. But that is something still taking a look at. Welcome any feedback if you have any on that from your perspectives. But really just the resolution tonight is going from Plan 12 to Plan 14. I will ask Amy and or Sabrina if they have anything to add based on anything that I've said or not said so far.
Yes, ideally in a perfect world, it would be important to research all of our options. These were just the options that were researched within ETF. So this is a big change for 2027. Again, we'll continue to research other options. Ideally, it would be, I understand the city challenges with the budget, but ideally, to make a big change like this and then potentially have to make another change next enrollment is quite a big task for all of staff. But I understand the budget constraints and that this is the action that that is being recommended. In terms of our open enrollment timeline, ETF does set that enrollment period. And so that's already set to begin October 5th. So I know like the top of the resolution, it says due by October 1st, but this is really not something that can be delayed too far because again, we have to prepare our documents and that enrollment period starts October 5th. Thank you.
I was just going to kind of echo what Amy said as far as if you feel like you're seeing this very early preliminary before budgets, it's because we have to have it set by October 1st at the latest and in additional time to allow those changes to be made for open enrollment.
The other thing I will add, and Amy referred to this as well too, into looking already for 2028, at looking at options, maybe even outside of ETF and what those options would be. We've had a very, very preliminary conversation with TIC to see what some options might be. Not ready to go down that road because we need to vet out a number of different things. And not saying that that's the route we will go, but these double-digit increases just are not sustainable when it comes to both city and, quite frankly, from the employee side. So we definitely will be vetting out other options as well too, just to see what it looks like for 2028.
And my question is, these are the network. These are network, and within network, this plan is right in the network that we're currently in.
Yes, I mean, so the coverage would be in network. If you're out of network, that would be you would have different.
And we shopped around at all outside of the different plans outside of what we already have, like courts and stuff, or not?
Yes, so there are other plans that are available.
Yeah.
So the numbers that we are presenting are based on if employees took the Courts West plan. If someone took the state plan, the numbers would be different. I have them. I just have them in front of me.
Okay.
There
Now, we
may
have
not be a
shopped
decrease in
around and
premiums.
compared them.
Say that again.
Go
I
ahead.
think I can answer.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So the city's cost doesn't change no matter what the employee selects. It's just their cost.
Their cost. Okay.
Yep, ours is a set percentage
Okay.
and it would stay the same regardless of which plan the employee takes
Okay.
within this plan 14.
Got it. Thank you. That's what I was looking for, to see where the difference would be. Okay.
Yeah,
So the
yeah, for
city
this-
doesn't change, but
Correct. The
they
city
could
would
pick
not
other
be.
options.
Yeah, there's a bit of a formula that goes into how the city's portion is calculated. And once that is established, that doesn't change depending on what plan an employee chooses. It just impacts what their premiums would be.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah. Sabrina?
The only thing that I was going to add is I know in 2027, we're going to look elsewhere. So right now, this is just with the state because it's just too hard.
That's
You-
kind of where I was going.
Yeah, I think that
I was in that business, so. Yeah.
But for this year, it was just such short notice when we
Yeah,
got.
I'm gonna say, it's a long process when that happens.
Right, and that
Yeah.
just gathering all of that data for other insurances to come in and give us a
Sure, yeah.
quote.
Or different options, self-funded, all kinds of things. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Correct. And if it's even an option for us to be self-insured, like there's just so many avenues
Yeah.
that
So many
we'll
options.
have to evaluate. But this year, unfortunately with
Short
the
window.
budget
Yeah.
expense, it makes the most sense to switch
Yeah.
to this plan.
It makes sense. Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions for anybody?
Rick, it looks like the coverage is relatively similar between these two options, right? It's just the cost that's mostly impacted here.
My understanding is that once the employees hit the deductible, then the coverage would be the same as what we currently have. That's my understanding of the plan.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And these are kind of the best options, right, that we've kind of come up with so far, really?
From my perspective, so what I did is I looked at the different plans. I think there were 4 or 5 of them. And just for my own analysis, I looked at, co-pays, co-insurance, premiums, up or down, impact to the city. And then on behalf of the employee and on behalf of the city, I ranked each one of the plans, which was most advantageous from a premium perspective for each one. And then I tried to look at which ones rose to the top on both sides, or as close to the top as you possibly could. And from my perspective, based on that assessment, this was the plan that I felt was closest to the top on both sides. So.
That's fair. Okay.
Mhm.
Any other questions? All right. Can have a resolution here, or do?
I'll move to approve a resolution 22-2026 existing employer option resolution, Wisconsin Public Employers Group Health Insurance Program.
I'll second that.
Okay, resolution approved by Alderperson Lenendorf and seconded by Alderperson Wolchek to approve resolution 22-2026 for existing employer option resolution for the Wisconsin Public Employers Group Health Insurance Program. Any other questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. All right. Item number 11, 2026 auditor request for proposal results. Sabrina?
Thank you. In your packets this evening on page 44 is a memo from me. Every 3 to 4 years, we go out for bid for audit services. So the gentleman that was here earlier this evening, he's our current auditor. And that we go out every 4 years just to kind of take a look at price, look and see who else is out there to kind of compare, contrast services and so forth. Unfortunately, the audit is something we are required to do. It's not something we do for fun. It's really not that fun. So it's something we're required to do by the size of our municipality. So we did receive 5 proposals back for our audit RFP. And myself, our Public Works Director, Jared, and our City Administrator, Rick, and then Karen in my office, our Accounting and Payroll Supervisor, all took a look at all of the 5 proposals, scored them based on the firm capabilities and reputation, the experience serving municipalities, staff quality, hours, service and timeliness, and then cost. Following that review, if you take a look at page 45, that shows how everyone scored the 5 auditors that we reviewed. It was kind of a unanimous, everyone scored Hawkins Ash CPAs, which is our current auditors, the highest. They were also the most cost-effective for the city. So I am recommending that we approve to keep Hawkins Ash CPAs as our city auditor.
Do I have a motion or any questions for Sabrina first? And I entertain the motion.
Just that I don't think I've ever heard anybody say an audit is fun, so.
Well, I'm also a prior auditor, so
Maybe an auditor could think an
Yeah.
audit is fun.
I mean, they are kind of fun, not when I'm in the hot seat, but when I wasn't in the hot seat, it was fun.
I'll move to approve the continuing with Hawkins Ash CPAs as our auditors.
I second that.
Okay, motion to approve the auditor of auditor request for proposal for Hawkins Ash from Alderperson Lenendorf, second by Alderperson Wolchek to approve. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, item number 12, discussion and approval of hiring of an additional police officer. Who's going to handle that one?
I will just briefly start and I'll turn it over to Chief.
Okay.
So this is a discussion that's been had between the chief, the mayor, Sabrina, Amy, myself, just in regards to staffing in the police department. The 2026 budget did include the funding for basically an overfill of a position, primarily because the department has a number of positions that are eligible for or a number of individuals who are eligible for retirement. There are also a number of leaves for various different reasons that are going on. And so for that reason, they are understaffed on a number of occasions, but able to fill those staffing and have coverage at all times. So what the request is going to be is to look at doing that for 2027 as well. Chief Berg did submit a memo, which was included in the packet, and I will then turn it over to him to add any information that he feels is appropriate.
Okay, Chief?
Thank you. So I think to start out, I'll just point out, and it's in the memo, it takes about a year to hire an officer by the time we recruit, go through the actual hiring process, the background checks, and then most of our candidates need to go to the police academy. So the academy is only run a certain number of times per year, especially in Western Wisconsin. Generally, it's 2 times a year. Sometimes it's only 1. For example, if we needed to hire somebody right now, which we do, if they needed to go to the academy, we wouldn't be able to send them until January. So it's a very long process. My intent is I'm not asking to permanently increase the number of employees we have. We just have a unique opportunity right now where we've had a successful recruitment process, and we have a number of candidates who do not need to go to the academy. We have run short for a majority, if not all of this year. And with 4 officers that are subject to deployment, they're in the military, and with 5 of us, if you include myself, that are eligible to retire. I'm not planning on retiring, but it's just hard to predict what could happen. Looking back to 2024, I believe it was, we had 9 officers leave the department. And when that happens, it's very difficult for the remaining staff to provide the coverage that we need. So that's why we're looking to do that.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions for the chief or Rick? Okay. Do we need a motion for that? I have to. Yeah. Okay.
Move to approve the hiring of an additional police officer.
I second that.
Motion by Alderperson Lennendorf, seconded by Alderperson Wilczek to hire an additional police officer. Any discussion?
I remember, I actually remember having this conversation of, we know that these, positions, we have a lot of officers that are due to retire soon. And, I remember Chief Ashbeck having the conversation of the turnaround of, or how long that onboarding process can take, especially if we have someone that has to go through the academy. So it's really great that we have some, potential candidates that don't need to do all of that extra, and love to get them in.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. All right, we're gonna go into closed session, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, so we're gonna go discussion for the possible action to increase cyber security protection. The common council may convene in closed session under section 19.85 para 1 para D of the Wisconsin State Statute for the purpose of considering a strategy for crime detection or prevention. The common council may reconvene in open session to take necessary action and or continue with the printed agenda. So we need to take the roll for Joanne. You gonna do that for us? Or you want me to do it?
Yep.
Hmm? Okay, okay.
To go into,
Motion to go on the closed session. Okay.
yeah, I'll move to go into closed session to discuss the increased cybersecurity protection.
Okay, motion to go, and you,
I second that.
okay, motion by Alder Lennendorf, second by also, we'll check to go into closed session. All in favor, say aye.
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 Tom Smith, aye. Aye. Okay, perfect. Thank you.